be taken from the Gospel according to John, and as is the custom in solemn papal masses, to represent the universality of the Church, it will be chanted first in Latin and then in Greek.
Dominus vobiscum. Lectio Sancti Evangelii secundum Ioannem. When
Judas had gone, Jesus said, "Now has the Son of Man been glorified, and in him God has been glorified. If God has been glorified in him, God will in turn glorify him in himself, and will glorify him very soon. My little children, I will not be with you much longer. I give you a new commandment: love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also must love one another. By this love you have for one another, everyone will know that you are my disciples."
Mandatum novum do vobis, ut diligatis invicem, sic ut dilexi vos, ut et vos diligatis invicem. In hoc cognoscent omnes, quia mei discipuli estis, si dilectionem abueritis ad invicem. Verbum Domini.
The Gospel in Greek is introduced with the exhortation of wisdom. Standing, let us listen to the Holy Gospel, and then the greeting, "Peace be with you," and the response, "And with your spirit."
Sophia ορθή ακούσομεν του Αγίου Ευαγγελίου.
Ελένη πάση.
Εκ του κατά Ιωάννην Αγίου Ευαγγελίου του ανάγνωσμα. Πρόσχομεν, ότι ουν εξήλθεν λέγει Ιησούς, νυν εδοξάστη ο Υιός του ανθρώπου, και ο Θεός εδοξάσει εν αυτό. Ή ο Θεός εδοξάσει εν αυτό, και ο Θεός δοξάσε Αυτόν εν αυτό, και ευθύς δοξάσει Αυτόν. Τεκνία, έτι μικρόν με θυμώνυμη, εντολήν καινήν διδομήμην, ειν αγαπάτε αλλήλους, καθώς ηγάπησα ημάς, είνα και εμείς αγαπάτε αλλήλους. Εν τούτο γνώσον δε πάντες, ότι μη μαθητές τε, εάν αγάπην έχετε, εν αλλήλεις.
The Holy Father will now kiss the Book of the Gospels and bless the assembly with it. And the choir salutes the Holy Father with the greeting, Ad multos annos, Holy Father. Many more years to you, O Master. And after a brief moment of reflection, we will now hear the Holy Father's homily for today's Mass, which he will pronounce in Italian, and I will be providing an English language translation of that.
Alcune parole che Gesù consegna ai suoi prima di passare da questo mondo al Padre.
We have heard what Jesus told his disciples before leaving this world and returning to the Father. He told us what it means to be a Christian. Even as I have loved you, so you must love one another.
Questo è il testamento.
This is the legacy that Christ bequeathed to us, the ultimate criterion for discerning whether or not we are truly his disciples. It is the commandment of love. Let us pause to consider two essential elements of this commandment. Jesus' love for us, as I have loved you, and the love he asks us to show to others. So you must love one another. First of all, the words, as I have loved you. How did Jesus love us? To the very end, to the total gift of himself. It's striking to think that he spoke these words on that night of darkness, when the atmosphere in the upper room was one of deep emotion and anxiety. Deep emotion because the Master was about to bid farewell to his disciples. Anxiety because he had said that one of them would betray him. We can imagine the sorrow that filled the heart of Jesus. The Gospel reminds us of the real truth of life. We are loved, and this is our value. We are loved. A contemporary spiritual writer put it this way: long before any human being saw us, we were seen by God's loving eyes. Long before anyone heard us cry or laugh, we were heard by our God, who is all ears for us. Long before any person spoke to us in this world, we were spoken to by the voice of eternal love. He loved us first. He loves us, and he continues to love us. And this is our identity, to be loved by God. This is our strength, that we are loved by God. Acknowledging this truth requires a conversion in the way we often think of holiness. At times, by overemphasizing our own efforts to do good works, we've created an ideal of holiness excessively based on ourselves, our personal heroics, our capacity for renunciation,